In this episode, we will discuss various theories of history like cyclical, linear, great men, everyman, ideas, economic, and other theories. Cyclical theory. A cyclical view of history stems from the histories of the Greeks. The Greeks thought that events reoccurred on a regular basis. Herodotus's work Histories is the story of men and states as recurring cycles. Herodotus's contemporary Thucydides also envisioned time as recurring in a cyclical fashion, a process which men were unable to control. Petrarch revived the cyclical concept of history in the 14th century. He differed slightly from the Greek in suggesting that the basis of history was the actions of people rather than the whims of the gods. Machiavelli also saw history as being cyclical and suggested that history could be seen as a casebook of political strategy. In the modern age, the cyclical theory of history has been advanced by Arnold Toynbee and Oswald Spengler, both of whom base their work on the premise that history is cyclical. Civilizations rise and fall, each new one rising to a greater level. Linear theory. The linear concept of history began in the West with the writing of St. Augustine. Augustine saw history as being the unfolding of the plan of God, a process that would end in the final judgment. Voltaire saw history as being linear but in a more secular way. He envisioned 4 great ages of men culminating in the scientific enlightenment of Newton. Marxist historians also subscribe to a linear view of history in the sense that they see history as a series of class struggles that inevitably ends in a workers' revolution. H.G. Wells described history as a race between education and disaster, either as world cataclysm or a world state. Great men theory. The great men theory suggests that dominant personalities determine the course of history. Rulers, warriors, statesmen, and the decisive forces in history, and history is the record of the deeds of great people. This theory is most commonly associated with Thomas Carlyle. Everyman's theory. The everyman view of history is one which sees history as being a record of collective experience of the ordinary person. Sir Walter Scott's novels showed how people lived through significant events, and he advanced the idea that history was the story of ordinary people's lives. William E.B. Du Bois, in his histories Black Reconstruction in America, Crisis, and The Souls of Black Folk, rejected the idea of history as the record of Western European events and advanced a view of history as the record of the lives of subject peoples. Ideas theory. This view of history is one in which the driving force in history is people's ideas. The conditions that create history are created or changed by ideas. G.W.F. Hegel is most often associated with this view of history. Hegel's view of history as the continual refinement of intellectual understanding is also a form of linear history, for Hegel described history as the unfolding of God's will or purpose through time. Economic theory. The economic theory of history sees economic factors as the most important determinant of history. The production and exchange of goods and services is the basis of all social structures and processes. The economic factor is the foundation for the superstructure of culture and government. Karl Marx is the foremost proponent of this view. He disagreed with Hegel by saying that it was not ideas that created material conditions, but rather the reverse. Other theories. There are a number of other theories that attempt to explain history. Some historians suggest that history is the result of geographic factors, and others suggest that wars determine history. Still others suggest that religion, race, or climate determines the course of history. A different view of history is offered by Friedrich Nietzsche, who saw history as having no beginning or end, just chaos that could only be understood by the powers of the mind. If you want to know about other topics in historiography, please check the playlist Historiography. If you have liked this episode, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.